There is a conversation happening about you right now, in a circle you didn't know existed, and it is not the conversation you would guess. Nobody in that circle is calling you slow. Nobody is calling you ordinary. The word going around that room, lowered voices, quick glances at the door, is a word people only use about a mind they've stopped being able to manage. Dangerous. And underneath it, the sentence that actually keeps them up at night, the one somebody finally said out loud while the others nodded too fast. This person sees everything. Stay with me to the end of this, because I'm going to do three things before we're done. I'm going to tell you why a circle of people would treat your intelligence like contraband. I'm going to show you the one quality you carry that turns raw perception into something sacred. Because plenty of people are sharp, but you were chosen for something sharpness alone can't do. And at the end, I'm going to give you the title that has been yours since before you could talk. The one that explains every strange reaction you ever gotten in your life. When you hear it, 20 years of confusion are going to fold up like a ladder and put themselves away. First, the reframe. And I need you to let this one all the way in because it reverses the polarity on a pain you carried for a long time. You have spent years reading the strange energy people give you as rejection. The way certain conversations go careful when you join them. The way some people are warm to your face and vague behind your back. The way you can feel yourself being handled, managed, like there was a protocol for you that nobody handed you a copy of. And you concluded what any decent hearted person would conclude. Something about me puts people off. Too quiet, too intense, too much, too odd. You auditioned your personality 100 times looking for the defect. There is no defect. Listen to me. People do not build protocols around defects. They build protocols around power. What you've been reading as social rejection is actually social security. The specific set of behaviors human beings deploy around someone whose perception they cannot get anything past. Nobody watches their words around a person who noticed nothing. Nobody feels exposed in front of someone with nothing behind their eyes. The carefulness you've been mourning is a compliment written in a language nobody taught you to read. They weren't backing away from your flaws, they were backing away from your focus. The way you back away from anything that shows you exactly what you are. Now, let me give you the picture this whole message stands on, and this one comes straight off out real history, which makes it hit even harder. Centuries ago in Venice, there was an island called Murano, and on that island lived a small brotherhood of craftsmen who knew how to do something almost nobody on earth could do: make a mirror that told the truth. You have to understand what the world looked like before them. For most of human history, people had never once seen themselves clearly. They had polished bronze that made them a golden smudge, dark little discs of glass that made them a shadow, wrapped, cloudy. generous surfaces that let everyone live inside a soft gas of themselves. And then these craftsmen learned the light through silver behind through glass. And suddenly there existed an object that would show a king exactly what a king looked like. And here is the part they don't teach you in school. The, the part that should make the hair on your neck stand up. The Republic did not celebrate these craftsmen in the open square. It confined them. The makers were kept on their island, watched, catalogued, forbidden to leave because their skill was declared a matter of state security. A true mirror was worth more than gold. And other powers wanted to secret, and legend says that makers who slipped away were followed across borders by quiet men. Think about what that means. Not weapons, not poison. The thing an entire empire guarded like a loaded cannon was accurate reflection. Clarity itself was classified. The most dangerous technology of the age was a surface that couldn't lie. You already feel it, don't you? You were never the person who happens to notice things. You are the technology. Somewhere along the line, a circle of people figured out what Venice figured out, that a true mirror changed the value of everything around it, and therefore has to be managed. Now, I can see your life from here, so listen and notice which of these lands in your chest like a dropped stone. For some of you, the circle is professional. Somewhere above you or beside you sits a cluster of people whose whole position depends on a version of events. And you keep accidentally noticing the real version. You caught the numbers that don't add up, the credit that migrated, the story that changed between the meeting and the memo. You never even said anything. You didn't have to. They saw you noticed, and noticing was enough. For others, it's blood, a family that runs on an official mythology, who sacrificed, who's owed, who's the problem, and you, since childhood, have been the one child who watched the machinery instead of the puppet show. Families can forgive almost anything except being perceived accurately. You've been paying for your eyesight all that at that table for decades. For others, it's social, a friend circle, a scene, community. It performs at the center of it. People whose currency is impression management. Around most audiences, they relax. Around you, they never really do. And everyone can feel it. And somehow that became framed as your awkwardness instead of their exposure. And for some of you, the secret circle isn't people you could see it at a table at all. It's subtler. The whole invisible arrangement of forces that seems to have taken a specific interest in your path, testing you, delaying you, watching how you handle each thing before releasing the next. Even that layer of reality has taken your measure, especially that layer. Whichever one made your stomach drop, hold it gently. We'll come back for it. Because now we have to sit down inside the wound for a minute. And I want to do this carefully. Since the particular one is one you never fully shown anyone, the hardest part of your life has not been what you've seen. It's been what happened every time you said what you saw. You noticed the shift in someone's tone and God told you were imagining it. You sensed the thing going wrong once before it went wrong. Said so once softly and got waved off. And then when it collapsed exactly the way you saw it coming, nobody circled back to say you were right. They just moved on. And you swallowed it again. You've been called an overthinker. So many times you started prosecuting your own perceptions. running every inside through a courtroom in your head, where you were somehow both the witness and the defendant. Instead of being nice, you genuinely wondered if you were the crazy one, because it was easier to believe your instrument was broken than to believe that many people preferred to fuck. And there was a lonelier layer under that one. Seeing everything means you can never fully see it. You watch people perform and you see the feel under the performance. You receive a compliment and you can hear its architecture. You sat in rooms full of laughter, seeing all the way down to bottom of everyone in them, feeling like the one only sober person at the party. And you'd never say that out loud because it sounds arrogant. And the last thing you ever wanted is to stand above anyone. So you learn to act like you see less than you do. You dim your own resolution as an act of politeness. Half your social life has been you pretending to be blurrier than you are. Now watch what happens when we turn this round over in the light. Everything I just described, every piece of it, is the biography of a precision instrument being carried through a world calibrated for lower resolution. You were never paranoid. You were early. Being right before is probable is indistinguishable from being wrong, right up until the moment it isn't. And you have lived your whole life in the gap, which is exactly where every true mirror lives. The overthinking. They diagnose you with is simply what processing looks like when the intake is 10 times wider than average. And the execution, the sober at the part of feeling that's not malfunction. That is the operating cost of the rarest kind of mind there is, and you've been paying it without complaint since childhood. Which brings me to the part of you that matters more than the seeing. Because here is the truth that separates you from every clever person you have ever met. And I want you to receive this as fact, not flattery. Sight alone is not chosen. Sight alone is just equipment. The world is full of sharp people who see plenty and see it like a crowbar. Perceptor manipulators, brilliant cynics, minds that read everyone in the room and invoice them for it. That was available to you. Let's be honest about what you've been holding all these years. You have seen enough about the people around you to end friendships, collapse reputations, win every argument you ever lost on purpose. You have carried blackmail, great clarity about almost everyone you ever loved, and you never once used to as a weapon. Do you understand how rare that is? Do you understand what that is? You saw people's weakness and covered for them. You saw the lie and let the liar keep their dignity, while you quietly adjusted your trust. You saw exactly which sentence would destroy someone in argument. You watched it float there, available, and you chose a smaller, kinder sentence instead and lost the argument and kept your soul. A mirror that shows the truth is a craft. A mirror that shows the truth and holds no malice. That reflects a person accurately and still without cruelty. That is not craftsmanship anymore. That is consecration. That is why I keep telling you that you were chosen and not merely gifted. The seeing was the equipment, restraint was the anointing. Heaven does not hand the clearest glass to just anyone. It hands it to the one heart it has tested and found incapable of using clarity as a knife. That is the paradox the secret circle cannot solve. By the way, the thing that genuinely unsettles them more than your intelligence does. Let me show you their side of the glass for a moment. With pity, because it's smaller in there than you think. A performer's entire economy runs on controlled reflections. They have spent years curating which angle of themselves each audience receives. This face for the boss, this face for the family, this face for the room. Every relationship in their life is a mirror they've learned to fog, tilt, or flatter. And then there is you, the one surface that won't take the fog. They stand in front of you, and without you saying a word, without you doing anything but being present and awake, they see the gap between their performance and their person. That's the whole mystery of why they act so strange around you. They don't dislike you, they dislike what they see when you're in the room. And the seeing feels like your fault. Calling your mind dangerous was the closest the pride could come to real sentence, which is this person makes it impossible for me to lie to myself, and the reason your virtue disturbs them even more than your vision. They keep waiting for you to use it. They brace for years for the day you cash in everything you've seen. The blow never comes, and your mercy slowly is becoming the most unbearable reflection of all. Because cruelty they could have written off, grace they have to explain, and the explaining has begun. That's what's happening in the quiet of their lives right now, in the part of the story you don't get to watch. So let me report it to you. You can fog a mirror, but you cannot fog a memory of what it showed you. Every one of them carries at least one moment where your eyes met theirs at exactly the wrong instant, mid performance, mid exaggeration, mid lie, and they knew that you knew. That moment does not decay, it travels with them. It sits in the passenger seat on long drives. Lately, the audiences they curated so carefully have been getting harder to convince. People age out of being fooled, and the performer feels the room cooling 1 degree per season and cannot locate the draft. And in the middle of the night, this is the part I need you to know. More than one of them has thought about you, especially with an emotion they'd never confess. Envy, not of your circumstances, of your rest. Because whatever else your life has been, you go to sleep as one person. They go to sleep as a comedy. The exhausting machinery of managing reflection runs all night in them, and it never once has run in you. And at some level below their pride, they know that it is not your IQ, it is the wealth they can't counterfeit. Meanwhile, look at what you were doing all those years while you're managing angles. Nobody applauded any of this, so I will. You kept the glass clean. That is a discipline nobody saw. Cynicism came for you 100 times. Every betrayal you watched in high definition was an invitation to let your surface tarnish, to start reflecting everyone a little uglier than they are. The way bitter seers do, you declined. You saw the worst of people and went on rendering them fairly, which is a more athletic feat performed daily with no crowd. You learn timing, the hardest craft of all for someone who sees everything, when to speak a truth, when to hold it in trust, when a person needs the mirror and when they need the blanket. You made your side a shelter. You're the one who noticed the person going quiet at the gathering. The friend whose "I'm fine" doesn't survive contact with you. And instead of exposing them, you find them gently, later, in private. You turn surveillance grade perception into a form of tenderness. and you ask for nothing for any of it. That ledger has been accumulating in your favor for decades, unread. It's about to be read. So here we are, the title, the one the Secret Circle almost named when they said you see everything. They got the seeing right and the meaning wrong. So let me correct the record handed you probably. You're the true mirror. The surface empire would have guarded, the object that ended the age of golden smudges and generous fog. The one thing in the room that gives back reality with no agenda, no flattery, and in your specific case, no cruelty. Out of all the clever minds walking this earth, clarity this clean was fused to a heart this incapable of weaponizing it exactly once. And you are where that happened. That is the chosen part. That is why the strange reactions, the careful voices, the whispered word in the hidden room, none of it was ever evidence against you. It was an empire realizing what it was standing in front of you. They confined the mirror makers of Venice because truth telling glass was the most valuable object in the world. You've been confined too, overlooked on purpose, managed, kept off the main square, and for the exact same reason, not because you were worth well, because you were worth state secrets. But every confinement in history has the same ending. The craft gets out, the glass reaches the world, and the season of your reaching is closer than the fog around you suggests. You felt it, that sense that rooms are about to need exactly what you carry. That the age of the smudge is ending everywhere at once and clear surfaces are about to be priceless in the open market of real life. So come back with me, one last time, to the room where they started, to the lowered voices, the glances at the door, the sentence. This person sees everything. You know what kind of room that was? That was not a tribunal. That was an appraisal. Frightened creators standing in front of the one surface they couldn't fog, doing what every empire has done in the presence of through glass, calling it dangerous, and guarding it, and telling no one what it's actually worth. Let them whisper. Mirrors don't argue. Here is your only instruction, and it is the same one the old craftsman lived by on their island, and it's enough. Stay clear. Don't tarnish to make the frog feel better. Don't blur yourself for company. The world is on its way to your surface. The honest ones, the tired of pretending ones, the ones who have wanted their whole lives to be seen accurately and held gently, both at once by the same pair of ears. Stay clear, reflect with mercy, and let everything that fears the truth keep a respectful distance. The way it always has around anything holy. Be safe.